Welcome to the Lance Scurv Show. I'm beginning to believe my own press clippings. Tonight we have Lisa Renee. We have Brother Fahim on the line also. And the title of the show is The 5G Network, RH Negative Blood, the Solar Eclipse, and Mass Extermination. And that's a whole lot to cover. And only Lisa Renee, in her brilliance, can bring all of that together. So we already had a little brief conversation earlier, and they have really warmed up. So I want to get right into it. And I'm probably going to be here sitting here snacking on my organic potato chips, which I shouldn't be doing this late at night with so much starch. But this is going to be such a juicy conversation. I don't want any microwave popcorn. You know what I mean? So I'm going to sit back also. I'm going to spread the link because this was done. We decided to do this earlier, but still a lot of folks don't know. So I'm going to drop some links, share the links and stuff like that. And we're going to vibe out. And we're not going to run you down too much tonight, Lisa Renee, because since I have the internet back and everything running full force, I'm going to just do a lot of frequent shows. And on the weekend, we always knock out a long one or two, right? So we're not going to really hold you up tonight too much. But what we spoke about earlier and the realization of what you discovered in your personal walk was very fascinating. So let's just flow. How are you both doing tonight? How are you doing tonight, Lisa Renee? Brother Fahim, you're a trooper too. So let's get into it.
Well, I did sleep. I prepared myself for this, and I slept good for a few hours. I'm
Well, you know
ready to
what?
go.
You know what? From the earlier video I did on Lawrence Fishburne, I put in like a lot of hours on one job, a lot of hours on another job, and I feel good, but I'm not running on fumes, but I'm kind of digging into my reserves. But this has to be done because it's about putting that work in. You know what I mean? And getting information out and different things that most people don't get on the controlled, mind controlled, dumbed down media. We have to discuss these things and make people think outside of the box. And I'm just blessed to have you here with me and with all the things that you share.
Well, you gave me a whole lot of credit I don't deserve. I'm not the expert on this. I'm not a scientist. Um, it, really, what's led me to what I have been able to figure out about this is because I'm a targeted individual, and these direct energy weapons used on me. Probably I'm a guinea pig for all this 5G network. Um, this that all led to that all opened the door and led to my chronic illness that from start to finish stole almost 5 years of my life. And I've just had to figure this out as I go along. So I'm not the expert. I don't know everything. I think I'm paying more attention and I'm trying to figure things out more than most people that I do know because I have been so extremely affected by these direct energies. So I'm going to tell you what, 5G is not something new that's coming. It's something that's here. And it's not something that just got here.
Right.
It's been here. And it may not have been used on everybody. People like me and the millions upon millions of others in the targeted individual community have been the guinea pigs for this technology. And I'm going to tell you, it's devastating. And if it weren't for some higher divine source that has intervened, I'm talking like physically has exercised my body in healing sessions. And if it wasn't for the extraordinary work that still continues on a daily basis,
Mhm.
I would not have survived it. And the doctors pretty much just dismissed me and sent me to go home with 13 pharmaceutical drugs in 2013 and said, sorry, all we can do is keep you comfortable.
Well, let me just throw a little extra on that. Yes, we know you may not be a scientist, but you're better than a scientist. You know why? Because you have hands-on experience with this, which may not be something that um felt too good, okay, because you had to go through a lot of it, endure a lot of pain, but you were placed in certain situations in a divine way to show others. And you have the mind to be able to reflect and convey what your experiences are. Not only that, but you have a strong mind. You're a survivor and you're put there for a certain purpose. You're better than a scientist. The scientist sits back and they poke and they probe and they go through their theories and they do their tests. But you have been actually the guinea pig and had to figure this out with no knowledge at all and figure it out and get to this point. So you don't realize the knowledge that you have from hands-on experience. That's where I want to get mine from. A scientist cannot convey what you convey, you know? That makes sense?
Right, right.
Right. Indeed.
And like I was in the military for like 4 years,
Mhm.
and upon leaving the military, I was informed that I had a condition that's called, they said it was called Wolf Parkinson White syndrome. It's a irregular heart rhythm that could actually lead to like a heart attack. So what they told me was, they explained it in layman's terms. They said it's like a 8-cylinder car, but you have 16 spark plug wires. 8 of them are doing you a harm. They are doing you harm. So what they did was they cracked my chest, went in and tried to remove these 8 additional pre-excitation tracks. They got them all but 3. Okay, so they went through my artery in my neck to oblate those 3. They got 2 of them, but they missed one more. They missed one. So they said, now we're going to go in and we're going to try to remove that one, but if we get the wrong one, then you're going to need a pacemaker. I said, hold it, wait a minute, stop. So what you're telling me is, if you get it wrong, I'm going to need a pacemaker? I said, whatever is wrong with me is going to stay wrong with me, because you're not going to do anything else to me. You know, I stopped them in their tracks.
Mhm.
And this was in 1985. So I'm blessed because I had enough common sense to stop them when I was ahead. Now, mind you, there was a patient on my right side and a patient on my left side. I was in like a four-man room. Those 2 people, one on my left and one on my right, they died in front of me. So now I'm laying there in between these 2 dead individuals, and I look out the window, and there's another man dying across the room from where I am. You know, I'm looking at all these people dying. So I'm like, wait a minute, what you know, it was really confusing to me, you know, why they would let me just lay there and look at all these dead people, and I'm suffering from open heart surgery, you know.
Mhm.
And so from what I gathered, I think I was basically a guinea pig. They wanted to see what would happen if they did this, that, and the other. But like I said, fortunately, I had enough sense left to get myself up and out of there.
Mhm.
And this was at a
Yes,
government
and
facility.
the people that sign up and go to the military, and they get those 15 vaccines and the mind control and everything else, yes, they absolutely are guinea pigs, including guinea pigs for the super soldiers, artificial intelligence human that they are trying to create. They probably do have it created. Um, Definitely, anybody who goes into the military, they have no idea. They're not just signing their soul to Satan. They're, you know, and I don't necessarily, believe in a Satan, but that's a figure of speech. They're not necessarily selling their soul, but they're giving themselves up as a lab rat, and that's why these vets come back with all these traumatization, suicidal tendencies, mental disorders, and things like that, because not because of something, it's traumatizing out on the battlefield, but mostly because of what's been done to them. To use them as guinea pigs, and at the same time, it is the U.S. military that is a huge part of this targeting individuals. It's Department of Defense. It's DARPA. Okay, me specifically, my home networks at 2 different locations, 2 different addresses where I had moved. In the middle of it, I was logged in on all websites. My login location through GPS was Laurel, Maryland, for over 2 years. And that's Fort Meade Military Base. That's Department of Defense, John Hopkins Research. It's all part of it.
Wow. For those people who are watching the live stream and they see me laughing or giving a thumbs up, it's not as though I'm listening to Lisa Renee and making fun or anything like that. I'm just reacting with people in the chat room. So for those who are watching this after it's uploaded and after it's, not live anymore, don't think I'm goofing, I'm just listening intently, and like I said, it seems like the more you dig, the more you find with all of this. And it's just amazing that we have so much technology and so many people just haven't been curious enough to dig deep. Even they give it to us. They don't give it to us in one piece, but even to go on Google and read and read and read. And yes, they do knock things out of Google that you can't see. I mean, certain things you're just not going to find. They're very selective. And remember that Google doesn't have everything. It's only what people upload. And if it's something that's just too powerful, they're gonna curtail it. They can have you upload it and limit how many people see it or who sees it. People don't understand that. So that's why sometimes we'll do a show and I'll put a generalized title and I won't even tag it a certain way. So, the search engines can't find it and crawl it and know what it is and bring it to the surface so they can say, hey, let's mess with this. Because my channel is severely compromised. And I really don't care that it is, just as long as people can see who we have on, like Lisa Renee and others who are bringing some truth that could spark off something in your brain and make you curious to see what's really going on in this world. I mean, on my bus all day and earlier today, people were talking about the TV shows, the stupidest TV shows, and it's not even a matter of being judgmental, but it shows you where their mind is. And if your mind is not in the right place, your life is not going to be in the right place. And everything you have, and then I don't mean possessions, but your life. So it's time to get our life back in the right place. But before we do anything, we have to get our head in the right direction. Because wherever the head goes, trust me, your life goes. And for some folks, get your mind out the gutter. But anyway, Lisa Renee, continue on.
Well, I wanted to say you had a fascinating lady on here a few weeks ago back, and it was that night where you did that really long show, and when Blue Star came on later,
Mm-hmm.
and she talked about the military. She was in the military. I don't remember what her name was. You know who I'm talking
Oh,
about?
Heidi. Yes. Let's see if I can get her
Yes,
on.
yes. She was fascinating with the inside information of how they experiment on these people in the military with the transgender and the vaccines and all
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if I can get her on. I'll just send her a text. If she's up, she'll probably come on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. But continue on.
Just to give you an idea of what these direct energy weapons, which 5G network is a direct energy weapon. It's an extermination program. This is depopulation, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give you an example of what it does, according to my last brain MRI, which was in August 2015, I had white matter lesions on both my left and right frontal lobes, chronic ischemic disease of the brain, chronic small blood vessel disease of the brain, and delimenting disease, which is basically the myelin sheath, the nerve system covering, protective cover being stripped off. Just to give you an example. And I was like a 90-year-old staring into space with Alzheimer's, shaking uncontrollably, looking like I had Parkinson's. And
Wow.
and I'm going to tell you, when this stuff hits you, and the last time I got hit was right about the after the first time we did the first show that you had me on,
Mm-hmm.
which was in May, and I got hit either right before or after that, and for like 10 days, it messes up your motor skills, which makes you physically disabled.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain just shuts down. You can't think. Your head will explode
Hmm.
for 5 days, 10 days, 20 days straight. That's just an example of what this stuff does.
Hmm.
And I've only been able to get where I'm at, and I've repaired the damage. okay, which any scientific fact, anybody can Google these conditions I'm naming, and all scientific facts will say it is not reversible. It is not curable. All you can do is manage it and try to keep it from progressing. In addition, I had degenerative disc disease all through C1 through 6 in my neck, where I couldn't even keep my brainstem where it belonged. I had to be in the chiropractor almost daily.
Oh, God.
I reversed all of that. I did have help, as I told you.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest part was I had to learn how to manipulate the energy, because I'm still being hit. And I have photos which are public on my Facebook page of the purple lasers. They're PEP, pulse energy projectile, that come right through my walls. The same energies that have brought me to my knees walking through the middle of my own home and disoriented me. Now I can capture them on camera coming through my walls, but I don't even feel them, because I have learned to manipulate the energy. Now that can change, because, you know, this thing has an intelligence of its own, and sometimes it figures out what you're doing and it will manipulate that, and then you got to start at square one and manipulate it again. But that's been the key to my survival.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Because see, the thing is, these are extra low frequencies, this technology.
Yeah, they don't bother you as much. It's like a slow burn, a slow death. Correct?
It can be, or it can be like an all-out attack. That, I mean, you could just be walking through your home from one room to another. Like me, for example, I was walking out of my storage room one day, which is in the middle of my house. It's not even by any windows or anything. The stuff doesn't have to come through windows.
Mm-hmm.
And I put my hand on the door jamb as I was passing through the room, and I had a cup of coffee in my other hand. And my other hand, when I touched the wall, my whole body through my hand just like got electrocuted, and it shot through my body. And my other hand opened, the coffee fell, and I dropped to the floor on my knees, and I just stayed there for like 60 seconds disoriented. That was back in February.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of times it will be where, like, for 24 or 48 hours straight, it'll be like somebody has a vibrating cell phone down the crotch of your pants. They will just vibrate your genitals, vibrate the back of your neck. And then there's other times where they just come on a full-on attack, and you will think you're having a stroke.
Wow.
You will just completely. I've got up to walk from my couch to my kitchen many times, and then got stopped dead in my tracks in the middle, and couldn't even move my foot forward, couldn't even open my voice to speak. You cannot respond. You're just like stuck on stupid, and because you can't get nerve signals to respond to anything, and you just have to stand there and wait till it passes. I'm telling you, this stuff is it leaves damage. It breaks down the immune system, and because I was vaccinated as a child with all these genetically engineered monkey viruses that are in the vaccines, it broke my immune system down so bad that I had no defense against those, and all the viruses activated.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a full-on attack.
We're not going to break you down too much tonight. Yeah, I just want to say we're not going to break you down too much, because I know you lose your voice, and you know you gave a great sacrifice. You took a little nap.
I'm okay. I slept about 4 hours. I doubled my magnesium. I had an extra serving of magnesium, of spirulina.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I got all them apples. Did you see? I went and got.
I know you got. And those are some good apples. People get fooled because they're bruised a little bit, but they're good apples.
I juiced them with lemons.
And you're good to go.
I juiced them with lemons, and I've had 4 12-ounce servings already, which counts as probably about 16 servings right there of raw fruit. So yeah, I'm good to go. I got till 5 or 6 in the morning. I'm good to go.
Well, you know what? I'm a crash out early before that, but we will keep the show going on. There's nothing going to stop that. As long as you want to roll on the phone line.
It's not going to be an ending issue.
Say it again.
This is not going to be an ending issue.
Right. It's a continuous.
Some people could call this.
Yeah.
Yep. Some people could call this the beginning of the end, but we've already been in the beginning of the end. And you know, people are talking about, oh, North Korea and this and that and World War III. Let me tell you, World War III is already here, and it's like the NASA 60-page document says. This is these are silent weapons for a quiet war, and it also says the future is now. Okay, and that's been out for at least a couple of years.
Of course,
that I know of. This is depopulation.
Yeah, that's really sad how the government.
I don't know what to say. It's like
choose and
I'm seeing it. But go ahead, Fahim.
The government will pick and choose how they're going to exterminate a certain race of people, and you know, everybody's running around watching all these crazy TV shows, Atlanta Housewives and all this crazy stuff when they should be paying attention to what's going on around them. And then, you know, you can tell them right to their face, you know. I was speaking to this one lady on the bus yesterday, and I was telling her, I said, you know, the president, he's mad at North Korea for shooting these rockets and stuff off. I said, well, I was over in South Korea in 1977, and we were doing the same thing that they were doing now. You know, so how come we can do it and they can't? Why now? Why do we have to threaten them with war when they're doing the same thing that we were doing?
All this stuff the media is running, that's a smoke screen. That is to keep people from realizing we are already in the war, and the war is against us. It is the deep state shadow government, which the government, this United States thing, you know, we've all been led to believe it's about baseball, apple pie, and all things wholesome. Okay, that's all been a smokescreen. It's been a false elusive constitutional rights bullshit. That's all been a false sense of comfort. Okay, while they have actually been putting this plan in place ever since these bastards that people call the forefathers, which are Freemasons, came to establish this platform for the New World Order. This is not some nation. It's a corporation and registered as such. Okay, this corporation was put together as a disposable platform to build the New World Order. And I'm going to go ahead and put it out there, the Jew World Order.
There you go. Don't be afraid to say it.
I'm not afraid to say it. And anybody who wants to call me an anti-Semite, they're not Semites. And how do I know? Because I got their reptilian blood flowing through my veins. I'm an O negative, ORH negative, just like the bloodline that they carry. I got the same blood flowing through their veins. And I'm going to tell you what, this is not about exterminating a certain race anymore. There have been agendas on races, and there probably, no doubt there still are, but this is about everybody now. And including me, I got their reptilian blood flowing through my veins. However, I'm not one of them. You know, they know the difference between these blood types. They know that it's basically a whole different species of human. And they know that this world they created, the synthetic world, is not compatible for the RH negative bloodline. So they live their lives differently than the rest of us, and they cover it up and tell the rest of us, well, we're all the same, and put us in a one-size-fits-all box of a world where we can't survive it. To weed us out, like me, you know. I might have their blood that flows through my veins, but they don't need me, you know, for a guinea pig. But when that's over, they don't need me anymore.
Man, you know, I can remember when I was in elementary school, this teacher would actually it was this little girl. She must have been about 6 or 7 years old. I think I was about maybe 8 or 9 at the time. This little girl, they had her on a leash. She had canine teeth, and she would She would not be allowed to go any further than that leash, and that teacher would, that teacher had to guide her around. And if you got too close, the teacher would always tell you, get back, get back. You have to be careful around her, get back. But that little girl, she growled. It was like, she looked human, but her teeth and the way her vocal sounds that she made, it was just really scary. And coincidentally, another child did get too close to her, and that girl bit a plug out of her. You could put your hand in. I don't know.
A classmate?
That's crazy.
This was at an elementary school. It was 118th Street School in Los Angeles, California. And this girl, I don't know how she was able to attend that school or what. I don't know what was going on with her, but to me, she was not human. She was not, because she had canine teeth, with the fangs and on the top and the bottom, canine. And she growled. But as long as she didn't open her mouth, you wouldn't even think that she was nothing more than just a child on a leash.
Yeah, she was probably in these lifelong generational programs, that started out as MK Ultra, and then Bill Clinton, when documents got leaked on this, Bill Clinton had to address the nation in 1995 and apologize for the horrible human experiments that this government has done on people, and said that the programs have ended. However, they did not end. They were renamed and rebudgeted. Then they were named Project Monarch, Butterfly, and they have that I know of. There's probably programs that we don't even know of, but 109 sub programs under the MK umbrella that continue today. That's probably what she was part of, and it's generational. It's generational. Blood type does seem to be a common denominator of those of us that have been lucky enough to be put in these programs.
That was a scary scenario you described, Fahim.
Hey, you know what? I'll tell you. Being a kid and seeing something like that, and I couldn't get any answers from anybody. I talked to my mom about it, my dad, and people that I knew, and and I just couldn't get no kind of real answer from anybody.
Yeah, that's probably what was wrong with her. They genetically engineer people. They got the Human Genomes Program. Okay, the Human Genomes and I don't know where it started. I'm quite sure it didn't start with IG Farben in Nazi Germany. However, IG Farben Pharmaceuticals, who's now Bayer Pharmaceuticals, who just went in with Monsanto and now owns like over 80% of our global food supply. Okay, IG Farben Pharmaceuticals was Auschwitz. And they were working on the Human Genomes Project. And it wasn't just about Jews, okay? Actually, that was all a smokescreen to create Israel and to create this worldwide sympathy and criminalize anybody who questioned it, okay, which still continues today.
because I'd rather down to the years. Look at the body of work, it speaks for itself. And this is what needs to be done, because if one thing doesn't catch someone, something else will. The videos have been severely limited. That's why I like to ask people, share stuff if you like it, if you believe in it, or if there's a guest that you heard, share it with all the people that you know. Download it, save it, because if YouTube goes down, we're all screwed as far as that's concerned. What's up there, but we're not screwed because we know they control. Stop broadcast, but there's no visual, so people are basically hearing this live. So we'll see what it turns out to be. Okay. But if it's no good as far as the visuals, we'll just upload the conversation and we'll keep it going for a little while longer. Yeah, we'll get down.
Back.
Say it again.
It's back. I can see you now.
You see me live?
Yes, you just flashed on.
Okay, it's a slight delay, but let me check on my phone, which is totally independent of this connection. And I tried to get my hand back on it. I'm so glad I didn't have my finger up my nose.
Well, just to give you a tip, the point I was trying to make is you can sit and you can blast away all day long about anti-medical establishment, anti-vaccines, the food that's not really food, and they don't care. That's not what they're interested in. But when you start talking about this 5G network, what it really is, and when you start talking about the Rh negative blood and genetically engineering the humans, that's when they get concerned. And I'm going to tell you what, when you start having problems from talking about it, that's when you know you're on the right page.
That's right. Now, see, this is what it says on my screen, which I don't think anybody else sees. It says there was an error loading your app. This is on the computer. This app couldn't open because it isn't communicating properly with Google. Try again in case it's a temporary problem. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
You know
what that
and I'm
is.
seeing it back again live now. I'm seeing it back again live, but who knows how limited it is. So, we'll roll with it. We'll roll. It's crazy. Now my other page is closed. The one where I had it open for the chat room. See how that is again. Let's see it. Yeah.
I will be 47 years old this Friday. In the past almost 50 years, there is nothing they can do to me that ain't already been done. So I ain't got nothing to lose. It's game on. I'm going to talk until they take me out.
And I'm going to let you talk and keep talking. And everything you say, we're going to do it together. You know what I mean? I'm going to do the same thing. Keep on swinging. It's crazy because I was looking at another video that I did where I was interviewing this guy on the street, and this guy was kind of upset because I know the guy from before when I used to work in the jail, and he's on crack now. And we know each other. We talked, and I know his story already. And I was trying to get him to go into like the grimier aspects of his street life so people can see what it's all about. And this guy's like, oh, this guy, the interviewer, he just wants money. He just wants hits. I'm like, this guy must not know me, because I know how to get hits if I want it. I can get ratchet and decadent and stupid. And I know enough people who are like, they come to me, Lance, let's do this with these naked women. And I'm like, no. So those who don't know me think that that's what it's all about. But no, I like to show the real deal. If I go out in the street and talk to somebody in the gutter, I want to make people know what it's like by what they say. And of course, I'm going to give the guy a few dollars or whatever, not just exploit anybody. But we need to see real stuff. No matter what we do, we need to see real stuff, real situations. We have all these means of communications. We have all these smartphones, and all we're doing is I know people on Facebook that if you look at their pages, they're all the photos are selfies of their face in different outfits, the same expression, the same 5 or 6 expressions. And I'm like, what a waste. That's like putting your foot on the gas pedal and on the brake at the same time. That doesn't make any sense. Use these as tools now while we can. They'll shut us down after a point, or they'll limit us while we're doing it. But use what you have as a tool to communicate before it's too late.
Well, what you say about the crack life. Now, let me tell you, as being part of these lifetime generational programs, I spent 11 years on the street as part of the CIA created crack epidemic.
Mm-hmm.
It's only by the grace of the higher divine that September 2nd, 1997, I was 27 years old, and I took my last hit of crack after 11 years. I mean, and I was out there full swinging 11 years straight doing the whole game. And one day I said, you know what? Okay, I'm 27 years old now. I had just recently found out I was pregnant with my youngest daughter, who I'm very close with. And I said, hey, I did it. It was fun, but the party's over. And I took my last hit and I walked away. And, you know, I'm luckier than most that got sucked into that, because that's it. I never went back. I went out to the suburbs, got my first real home I had ever had my daughter, and created a life for myself. But I was one of the very lucky few. But I've seen it all. I've been through it all, and that's all CIA created as part of experiments too.
It never ends.
You know, we're just disposable. They just, you know, it's kind of like, you know, if you're looking at a video game and you see the game going on in the screen, and then you got the people playing the game. Well, we are the video game and they are playing us, and we're just disposable. It's just kind of like, you know, it's all about, well, what can we make them do, and what will happen if we do this to them, and you know, not just physical, but it's behavioral studies, the whole 9 yards.
Let me ask you a question. I'm over here snacking and chewing, so I've been muting my microphone so you don't hear it. And I know it's rude, y'all, but I had a long day. I want to snack before we wrap it up, but no, we're going to go on for a little longer. Let me ask you something. I'm always aware. I'm just going to throw this out at you. I'm always aware of my spine. I had a slip disc, pinch a sciatic nerve back in 1984. I was squatting with like almost 500 pounds, 400 something pounds. I put on some body weight. I had stopped competing for a while and I was trying to get a little bigger. So I was lifting heavier. And I figured out why I had that injury. I had a knee injury in early 83. And it was slight, you know, it got well. But subconsciously, I always favored the other knee. It was the right knee that hurt. The left knee was okay. So when I would squat now heavy, I'm pushing more with one knee, which made my spine slightly curve with all of that weight on it. And like a deck of cards, after a while, boom, dropped the weight, fell, couldn't hardly walk. Went to a good chiropractor after going to many chiropractors. That it was a sports chiropractor. He passed away now. He's a legendary chiropractor named Kimon Voyages on 34th Street. Any old timer would know who that is. He has a son named Dane Voyages, who, you know, the fruit doesn't fall too far from the tree, but he's not as good as his father. Anyway, make a long story short, he told me, he said, for the rest of your life, that particular disc will be the one that will be the weak link in the chain. So I learned how to manipulate myself, twist myself a certain way, and I got real good at it. My spine was still curved for a while. When I met my present chiropractor, but he told me, like right after a couple of years of going to him, which I never went to him a lot, but doing my own thing and learning about the spine and the different movements and self-correction, my spine is perfectly straight now. Years ago, every few years, something would happen where I'd pull up a weed, something light, and it would just, man, that thing would hurt so bad and stay like that for a couple of days, really bad. The last time was about maybe 3-4 years ago, and I could be walking and that thing hit me. I could have a plate of food in my hand. It would drop, and I'm going to drop all in the broken dish with the food. Well, right now, it's better than it's ever been since I've been cleaning up my diet. And I also found out that anytime in the past, like back in the 80s and 90s, when I consumed dairy products, you know, excessively, and wheat for some reason, I mean, this came to me and I know it. I know my body very well, even though I'm not in that kind of shape or not training anymore. So anytime after that, I would have meat, not meat, but the wheat and the dairy products, which I don't drink milk, but it was always cheese or sour cream on a wrap. Cut it all out. Hasn't happened again. This is the longest stretch in my adult life where this just never happened. Now I always crack my neck and crack, and I do it properly. I know my body. Chiropractors have taught me, and there's things I can do 90% of it, and there's certain things I can't do. So that being said, about a month ago, about 6 weeks ago, right in the base of my skull, behind my ears, right at the base, it was very uncomfortable, and it stayed that way more or less. It felt like something external. I'm not trying to jump on the bandwagon and say, yes, the government is shooting things at me, but I can confess this because I kept it to myself for a long time. And it just felt that, when you feel nauseous in your stomach? Yes, Les Spencer Roberts. I'm glad you're
Yeah,
here.
'cause it makes
Yeah. When you feel nauseous in your stomach before you throw up, which I'm not one who really ever threw up. I just don't throw up, right? But I know the nauseous feeling. It felt like on one side and on the other side, right in the back, at the base of the skull. If you take your thumb and you can trace and feel
yeah,
right there.
that's called the occiput. That's called the occiput. That is
What
the
is that?
little, like the little dish that is like the little dish that actually is the base of your skull, and it's like a little dish, and that's what your skull sits on.
Mm-hmm. And
And I'll tell you, there's only two ways that happens. Number one is if you like threw some disc out of place,
mhm,
which you would know. Okay, and then what would happen is maybe it will inflame those fibers, those nerve fibers for that occiput,
mhm,
or something's been done to it. and,
right.
and and yes, this was my source of pain, my brainstem being attacked. But it's one of two things: either something's been done to it. I will also tell you, the milk and the weed are extremely inflammatory. They got the weed. Listen to me. You know I'm a stoner, right? the wheat. Okay, the wheat that's not really wheat, and people say, oh, but they ate wheat in the Bible. Well, yeah, in the Bible, they were eating a grass called einkorn, and it looks nothing like what wheat looks like today. And einkorn wheat had 12 chromosomes. Today's wheat, and this is on a global contaminated level, today's wheat has 63 chromosomes. And not only does it have 63 chromosomes, but it's been deliberately crossbred with the opiate plant to create an addiction so you want more. And that's why it's a byproduct in everything processed on the shelves, even the shit with a buzzword attached called organic or vegan.
Right, right. Oh, no, I don't eat wheat. And I stopped all of that, but it just
You
felt
said when you eat, when you said in the past, if you
right,
did,
right.
then that was when you
Oh
would have
yes,
more pain because it's a neuroinflammatory response
yeah,
that it causes in you.
definitely. And the funny thing about it is that feeling went away yesterday. I woke up today and I'm like, what's up with that? Now I'm also experiencing not pain, but discomfort in my left shoulder. And it travels. Then I felt it in my biceps. Now I'm driving the bus. I haven't done anything different. I know how to sit down. I don't sit with my wallet in my back pocket. It's on the side. I get up frequently. I stretch, I squat, I walk. Um, Never had any problems that way. And it's weird that discomfort, which I don't feel now. I feel it in my trapezius on the left side a little bit, but for the most part, it's
If
going away.
if it comes if it comes suddenly, it just like comes out of nowhere,
Hmm.
and then it just ends up going away out of nowhere as if there was never even a problem,
Hmm.
and you haven't had any trauma happen to cause it,
Right.
then that's something is from an outside source is being done to you.
Hmm. Hmm.
I've
I
been
believe
through this.
that.
Trust me, that is something. And I will tell you one thing that will be very, very helpful in battling that is that magnesium transdermal oil spray I always talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I could not see where I am right now without that.
Hmm.
Just spray it on those spots. I mean, like go crazy with it and just like rub it right in
Mm-hmm.
and let it soak right through 2 or 3 times a day. And it's my theory based on what I felt that actually kind of helps even shield against the stuff that's being done.
Well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get deep into this stuff, and I made a commitment to get deep in it. The remedies, the herbs, the things that protect us. That's my life mission from this point on. I'm not going to abandon everything else, but this is something else that I'm really taking more serious. The changes that I'm seeing in my body since I've been eating so much better, and I know that what I'm eating can be improved because we're in a faulty environment, right? But I'm going to really get deep into this even more so, and we'll speak offline about the location and acreage we were speaking about. I'm not putting that out there too much. But with that being done, the process of that being done, I'm going to go real deep. So, and like I said, there really is no off the grid as far as the technology that they have. But for the most part, more so than anybody I know, I will be off the grid. I'll still be on the internet in a unique way because I know that's a way of tracing you and tracking you. You're still going to be visible. You really can't hide in this country or really in this world. I understand that. But you can move a certain way. I do believe you can move a certain way where you're not handing it over to them that fast or that conveniently for them. But I want to do everything that I possibly can to protect and improve and open up that third eye, so to say. And some folks call it the Holy Spirit or whatever. But that intuition that is so natural to us, I want to open it up, and I don't want any filters or anything clogging my senses that way. I want to be able, like we said, to get around the trees and let the trees give me age old wisdom and information that's hanging in the air that I can't get on my own. I want to be close with nature, even when certain animals, like say, for example, a deer runs away from you, but you're at peace and you're so centered. You walk near that deer and he or she won't run. You know what I mean? To be aligned with everything. If a storm is coming, I don't need CNN or the Weather Channel to tell me a storm is coming. I don't even have to look at the animals. I'll know that we have so much time. I believe we can get back to that heightened sense if we get rid of the technology that we have now. We utilize it as tools for certain things, but we go low tech and don't depend on it and get more into ourselves because we are the ultimate computer. We are the ultimate machines. And this thing called cell phone, I mean, yeah, it's cool and everything, but we're leaning on it too much. Imagine being an Olympic a sprinter, winning gold medals, but you walk around with a walker, you walk around with a cane. You don't use the powers that you have in your legs and in your stride and in your balance. If you don't use it, guess what? You'll lose it. Everybody else is training and you're walking around on a walker. You got these strong legs under you, but you're leaning and depending on this thing. So now it's time to run the race and you falter. You don't win. You don't even place. You're dead last. That's what's happening to us as a human family. We've gotten away from certain things. And that's what I want to get back into. So even when I'm outside driving that bus and I'm around all these different entities whose minds are all over the place and so toxic and so really so messed up. And I don't feel like I'm better than anybody else, but I'm seeing things. When you see certain things that you have to go for, you got to go for it. You can't hold yourself back because there are other people who don't see what you see. And when you get to that point and you're a shining example, then those who don't see all of a sudden say, hey, you know something because you're on a different level. We want to know. But before they called you crazy, before they called you a fool, before they didn't want anything to do with you. So whoever doesn't want to take the journey with us, fine. This is not a cult. This is not, everybody can have something to add. We have many people here like Dreamwalker who has been through things and knows things, so we can all get together. Like Heidi got in and fascinated you, Lisa Renee, with the things that she had to share. Organic, real conversation. There's nothing like it. You can go to we have more cable channels than we ever had before. Yet TV is boring now. All of the sports channel, 7 days a week, it feels like Saturday afternoon used to feel back in the 70s when you had Sports World, Wild World of Sports, and what was the other one? Oh God, I forgot. But you had to wait for Saturday for all the sports to come on. You had to wait for Saturday morning for the cartoons to come on. We only had channel 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13, and maybe some fuzzy Spanish channels or 31 or 41, 47 up in New York, right? And TV was fascinating then, more so as a youngster. Now, as an adult, unless it's a documentary or some type of art form like that, made specifically to stimulate you and make you think real, I don't want to see it. If it's fiction, I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. The reason being is that life is more fascinating. Show me a documentary, show me somebody's real life walk or their words or something that they can convey to me that they experience. That's so much better than what somebody made up and taking me off somewhere else to distract me from the truth. I can't live enough life. You can give me 5 million years to live. And like I always like to say, you can freeze this 1 second, this one moment in time, everything frozen. Accidents about to happen and it's frozen. Somebody jumps off a bridge, but they're frozen. I'll give you 1 million years to walk all around the world, every village, every town, every city, every country. And you can't tell me every single situation that's going on at that particular moment, because this very second, the world is a vast, vast place. I don't know how I got onto that one, but go ahead and take over while I snack on some more potato chips here.
Well, I wanted to say, because you mentioned your inner eye. When you are being hit at the back base of the skull like that, that's what's being targeted, is your pineal gland.
Wow.
That's because that is what inside there. That's where that.
And it was a discomfort. It was a discomfort. And I know how to take my thumb and hit certain vertebrae up in my neck. Look, I've been doing this for a long time. And my chiropractor was like so amazed. He's like, man, your spine is perfectly straight. You know, when he was manipulating me, he's like, why are you here? You know what to do, right? But I always like to get the x-rays and the A-OK. So for me right now, there should be no reason. The stretches that I've been doing and the way I haven't been training with weights or anything, but just the movements before.
If there's no reason and nothing has moved, because things move. It's just like with the car.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get our tires rotated, balanced, and we got to get our alignment. It's general maintenance. Same thing with the human body and the spine. As we go through life and we run, we jump, we fall, we walk up and down steps, things do move. That's normal. But when nothing has moved and there has been nothing done, any kind of trauma done, and it just comes for no reason like that, and that base of the skull those fibers become inflamed, that's probably what it is. Probably a direct hit on your pineal gland.
Well, yeah. Lord knows I talk enough smack online, so somebody's out there that's scurvy. We got to get him. But I know when it's me, and I know when it's something external. And like I really been laying out in the sun and enjoying myself every day.
Because you don't put a bunch of shit in your body to confuse your body, so you don't know the difference.
Right.
You know what you put in your body, and you're very cautious and selective of what you do to your body. And when you live that kind of lifestyle, you know your own body. You are your own doctor. You don't need somebody to tell you what's wrong and what's not.
Exactly.
So you know if something's been done or if you've hurt yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And something's off or whatever. And I'm very intuitive that way. If I wake up and I didn't wake up right, meaning that, sometimes you hear a noise or a truck or something, and, the house is very, very, very quiet. If you were in here, you would swear you're up in the country somewhere. This particular subdivision is very, very quiet. Excuse me. Aside for the day where every now and then you see a FedEx truck, a UPS truck, mail truck, somebody's doing work, playing music on the weekend or whatever, but it's very quiet. So inside is extremely quiet. peaceful. And no matter what time I go to bed, like, okay, it's like 4:12 right now. So what? I'll go in the backyard for a little while, and I'll go to the part of the dirt where I know that there are no fire ants out there, right? We don't want to step on the fire ants. Um, I'll look up in the sky, I'll go near some of the plants, and I'll just feel that stillness, that quiet. Or if it's too bad, like too many mosquitoes running around, I'll just go on the sun porch and it's like being right there. We have plants in there, we have plants all over the place, plants, 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 and it's quiet. And like say for example, now when I go to bed, I'm not going to stay in the bed the whole 8 hours. I know intuitively right now that if I get up after 3 hours to use the restroom, and I'm going to make myself do that because I have a gallon of distilled water right here. Okay, so I'm gonna start sipping that. So I have no choice but to get up. But that being said, when I get up, I'm gonna go out into the backyard and I'm gonna lay out. Now, a couple bugs might crawl on me or whatever. I won't know unless something stings me, but I never have that problem. But I'm gonna lay out in the sun till noon, 1 o'clock, or whatever. And that might be like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock. And yes, I've learned to sleep in the sun, right? And I really get charged. I mean, I really get charged on so many levels. And when I go into work on the days that I have to go to work and I had a lot of sun, I can read people's minds. I can just be still and just watch them. And I know what they're coming with. And I know how to negate some of the negativity that they come at me with. Now, there are a lot of positive people out there, but it does something to me. You know what I mean? And I have to balance it out
I'll
because
give you a tip.
say it again.
Grow sunflowers. Grow sunflowers out there.
Let me,
Lots of sunflowers.
you know what? My neighbor across the street that came into the show the other day, just really quick, I cut her yard. She doesn't have a lawnmower. And I said, okay, when I cut mine, I'm cutting yours. There's a huge property across the street going right into the lake. We're going to get some nice shots down there. And also, she's going to let us use some of the lake water to water our plants because the lake water has so much more stuff inside of it. But the funny thing about it is she gave me some ginger plants and she gave me some sunflower seeds live. And so we planted them and we're going to wait for them to come up and they'll come up pretty fast. Even though this is late in the year, I don't think we're going to have a problem with that. But yeah,
Well, you know what they do?
Mhm. Tell
They
me.
absorb electromagnetic pollution and radiation.
Wow.
And one more thing, if you have a problem with like mosquitoes and insects bites, what you can do is you can get a bottle of that Johnson's baby lotion and put 3 tablespoons of tea tree oil and 3 tablespoons of olive oil in there and shake it up real good and just put that on after you take a shower or something, and the mosquito will not bite you.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It works. It works.
But you want to be careful with Johnson and Johnson.
Mhm.
You want to you look in and find out who Johnsons and Johnsons are. They're all part of this Nazi science, pharmaceutical nonsense. And there's actually from the Johnson and Johnson's talc baby powder, there are all kinds of lawsuits against them because it's cancerous. Johnson's and Johnson's that's a horrible corporation.
Okay. I didn't know that.
If you make that solution without Johnson's and Johnson's, it will still work. And also peppermint oil.
Right. Okay.
And a lot of these big corporations that make these body care products, they have the fetal human DNA cell lines in them too. Gotta be real careful with that stuff because it goes right through the skin and right into the bloodstream. Aside from you don't want to be buying their crap and funding who they are. I mean, if you research Johnson and Johnson and their origins, they're right in there with all those Nazi pharmaceutical companies.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But that
So
solution will work without it.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, because I think the main ingredient, the tea tree oil, is what deters them from biting you.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah. So I'm gonna see if I can substitute that for something else.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But I see right
You
now
might not even have to substitute it. You might not even have to substitute it. The tea tree oil and the olive oil might just be enough on its own.
Okay, that's a thought. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to start growing our own food and raising our own livestock.
Sounds good to me.
Well, let me tell you about this food. What this food does? This food that's not really food is what I call it, and it's got all this heavy metal neurotoxin in it. And you got to remember too. Okay, they don't have to list the ingredients and the chemicals that are used to process it. There's a lot of categories of stuff that don't have to be listed. And what happens is these heavy metals and neurotoxins, which are the same chemicals that they are spraying in the sky, and they work the same way as what those chemicals in the sky are for. They are bioaccumulative, meaning they do not leave the body unless you do certain protocols to pull them out. And they as they bioaccumulate in the body, they are conductive antennas for these to carry these signals, these energy signals, for these direct energies. And that's exactly what the reason they're spraying these skies like they are for, because that's what works as the conductor to carry the signals. And the food the same way. If they can get those metals in our body through the food, the medicine that's not really medicine, and these cosmetics and body products, then we basically create conducting antennas inside our own body.
Man.
I'm talking the drinking water and everything. You got to be real careful with water. I will only drink distilled water. If you look at a lot of these bottled waters, like from this, like Nestle, which is another filthy, horrible corporation. If you look at these bottles of water, they got 4 ingredients in them. And 2 or 3 out of the 4 are the same ingredients you will find in a lethal injection if you got sentenced to the death penalty.
Oh, my God.
That's what they would give you in a lethal injection. And what their purpose of them is, like the potassium and the sodium that's in it. I'm not talking about real potassium and real sodium. I'm talking about this heavy metal synthetic mineral form of it. What this does is they're neurotoxins, and those are what are responsible for telling your heart to beat and how many minutes to beat. So they're in the lethal injection to stop the heart from beating. And those are the ingredients that are in those bottled waters. If you look at them, you'll see 4 ingredients. Water should not have ingredients in it.
Right. I know that's crazy. You know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna give it like another 10 more minutes, just to hold back a little bit in reserve for my rest. If you want to continue on and leave, for me to leave the line open, but let's just do this again tomorrow night. You know what I mean? If you can, Lisa Renee, because I know I don't want to mess up your.
I can do it if I know.
Yeah.
At a time, I can get my 4 or 5 hours of sleep like that. Yeah, I'm wired and ready to go. I've had 3 cups of coffee since we've been sitting here talking.
see what it is that I don't want to nip off too much with so much of a demand on me tomorrow. And like I know that if I go past like another so many minutes or whatever, because I'm gonna have you talk some more and wrap some points down. But this will allow people to see the upload of this during the day and ask their questions. And I'm just letting them know we're gonna come back and we'll just continue on. Like I said, I'd rather have many shorter shows like during my work week, but then when the weekend comes, we're gonna burn out, especially when it's the phone call only type show. We can go out on that one too. But tomorrow night we can do the same thing, maybe a little earlier, because I didn't have the second job to go to tomorrow night. So I'll be in a little earlier, like 2 more hours earlier than when we started just now. But I wanted to get this down, like I said.
What I would like to what I would like to get into tomorrow or at some point, whatever's convenient for you, I would like to explain to people what, from a physical aspect, what the difference is between negative blood types and positive blood types, because it's two very different immune systems, two different bloods. And like I said, this world that we live in is not compatible for negative blood types. And a lot of times, a lot of these things that people think they're sick, and they do eventually become sick, is actually their body. If they're like a Rh negative, it's a rejection. Just like if a Rh negative woman gets pregnant, and by the way, the human species is the only species this happens to. If a Rh negative woman gets pregnant and the fetus is an Rh positive, she's supposed to get a vaccine called Rogum that is basically to vaccinate against an allergic reaction of the fetus she's carrying. And without it, if there's any kind of blood between the two that cross, her immune system will view that fetus as a foreign invader and will attack it and could injure it or kill it. And it's the same. It's the same way. If you're doing that to your own fetus that's in your own body, it works the same way with a lot of this food that's not really food, this medicine, and things like this. And people are told they're allergic to something, or they're told they have autoimmune disease, and it's actually their body rejecting what it should not be having.
I had
and see the. I'm sorry.
Oh no! You're on the floor. I just wanted to say before I forgot. Dream Walker from the chat room said, "Look up George Webb with 2 B's on the end of the name, and that's a fellow TI." Yeah, but this is deep. And Jacqueline Abrams said, "Oh boy, she knows everything." Like I said, from experience, sweetheart. You're flowing. You're explaining things better than a scientist would, because of your experience, and then you research things and you've pieced things together. You are in it. You're in it. Could you imagine a person?
And I believe that's why I got chosen for this.
Yeah. No, you got chosen for this.
And you know what? That's why I believe no matter what's done to me, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
You're protected. You have a work to do. You know what I mean? They may feel so all powerful, almighty, omnipotent, but you will make them feel impotent. You know what I mean? We all have to join hands together and just share the knowledge and raise the vibration of the planet, and bring people into awareness. And lots of times, like we say, ignorance is bliss. They don't want to lose their bliss, but it's not bliss. They'll realize that if they don't educate themselves and empower themselves with the knowledge and information that's there, their bliss is going to be short-lived. Face it now. You know what I mean? I'm a cash guy. I'd rather pay up front and get what I get, and I own it. I have credit cards, but I don't like them. You know what I mean? I don't want to get my stuff on the back end and have to pay, get my stuff up front and have to pay on the back end. I don't like that. I like when I have something in my hand, I know it's mine. So the happiness and bliss that I experience now is mine, because I'm learning all of these things that you and others have shared with me, yet I can still have a happy existence because there's a balance there. And that's what I try to tell folks. You're not going to stick in your head in the sand. It's not going to keep your backside from being a target. You know what I mean?
Well, I see in the comments where Dreamwalker, which by the way, Dreamwalker, look me up on Facebook, Lisa Renee. And friend me if you want. Dreamwalker says, and I believe Dave in Texas over there mentioned it earlier, that blood is a transmitter and receiver, and that is absolutely correct. And then the Rh negative blood is actually more electrical. It has more of, I don't want to say this backwards, it's more resistant to electricity than the Rh positive, meaning Rh negative people are more sensitive to energies, whether it's organic energies or the synthetic weaponry that they use. And and that's where this, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of information about how RH negative people tend to be very psychic or have paranormal abilities and things like that. And that it's really not about that. It's about the sensitivity to energy. And I can think of 100 reasons, 1,000 reasons why they wouldn't want people who are so sensitive to energy, understanding this, which kind of goes into the big cover-up of why nobody knows anything about it.
Amazing. So this is what we're going to do. You caught me with a full mouth of potato chips. Anyway, I got to stop this. Even though they're kind of healthy, I didn't have so many carbohydrates today. I ate very lean today. I'm not pushing the food as much. I just eat just enough. But I come with a full bucket every day. But
Right.
I'm going to wrap it down. And I just want to thank everybody for, showing up tonight. They didn't expect it. But now this is the point where when you least expect it, expect it. And again, there will be shows that we will publicize and schedule. But it always seems as though when I schedule something and publicize it, let people know on this day and this date, boom, the internet is gone or something goes wrong. Just like even what happened tonight. It went down for a little while. The audio was there, but for some reason you couldn't see the picture. Now, how can the audio still work? Well, I mean, for mine, I know how I have it rigged up, but I'm like, how did that still work that way when the video went? So I don't understand. So it went down and came back.
I did post this on my Facebook page in case any of my friends were up and wanted to listen in.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they've seen it from there. They, whoever they are, right?
Right. It's crazy. But that's the thing. So we're going to be back tomorrow night, say about maybe 1:30, 2 o'clock, right around in there. And I'll be on Facebook and Twitter, and make sure to follow me, everybody. I don't mean follow me like I'm some guru up in the mountains and I'm all knowing. Just connect with me. Follow is really the wrong word, and I hate to use it, but that's the social media jargon. Because some people follow me here on Instagram or Twitter or YouTube or Facebook, but try to connect with me, because sometimes when last minute things pop up, we put them up, or sometimes mishaps happen and say, hey, the internet's down. My internet, I don't know. I should pay half of what I pay because half the time it's up. So I know this is Florida. We have weird weather and they're still recovering from the hurricane, but I've had so many issues, and I'm going to switch up and I got to get something better direct. But anyway, that's not going to stop anything. But we're going to wrap it down. And I know Fahim is here, and definitely Lisa Renee, thank you so much for sharing and, sacrificing and get some more rest, because tomorrow is going to be just as intense and just as good. I want everybody who...
Okay, and if we get together tomorrow, then that means I'll spend my birthday with you guys.
That's wonderful. Perfect timing. That would be an honor.
That was good.
That would be an honor.
Yeah.
You're still a giving person.
For me.
Exactly. For you to be a giving person, even on your birthday, you can say, hey, this is my birthday. I don't want to do this. This is what I want to do. But this is your life and what you're made for. And like I said, it's a pleasure. And don't ask me to sing happy birthday. I might scare you off the line, because I'm not the singer that my mother was. But we will do something for you that way. And like I said, I'm overjoyed, and we're going to get back, together again tomorrow night and all through the weekend, all through the weekend. And we're going to have some long ones too, where we go in depth, and, I'm still working on different things and to make things better. And like I say, the best thing, you see a show that you like, to everybody out there, share it, dig in the archives. We got over 1,800 videos and shows, and they're not just 5 minutes long, y'all. We had some shows 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours that we just rolled through. So when people email me and say, you know what, Lance, you said so-and-so on this show 3 years ago, I'm like, I don't remember. And I've evolved. I've said things now back then that I would say, you know what, I've evolved, and I don't believe that anymore. You know what I mean? And I change, because I get, and I mean change, but evolve, ascend, get better, become more aware. When you're a child, you think as a child, and when you get older, you think as an adult, and you see more. So I'll just leave everything up. So it's an evolution, and we all evolve, and we're never going to hit perfection, but we can always perfect ourselves. And on that note, I'm going to say good night to everybody. And
All right, we'll catch you tomorrow.
Definitely. And Fahim, you're a trooper, man.
Bye-bye.
You were right there. Thank you, Lisa Renee. Thank you, Fahim. And anyone else who wants to join in with us, if they have something to add or just want to chop it up, feel free to call that number when the showtime begins. And also, if you get on the 888 number, which is down there, if anybody else gets on, you have a conversation. It doesn't have to be a show. It might get recorded now, so don't tell your dirty little secrets and stuff. But I leave it open that way. So we'll see. Anyway, have a good night. Download the Landscurve app at the Google Play Store, the Amazon Store, and the App Store. Hit me up anytime if you have a scoop or a story or something you want to share. 407-590-0755. You can always email me at scurvmedia@gmail.com. All the information is down below. You can check it out. And go to the website, landscurve.com, subscribe, put your email and join the email list so you can get every new show and every new article that comes up, pieces of artwork, and other things. And we're going to expand even more so. I'm always on the grind, bringing the good stuff. And I can't do this alone because I depend on everybody else to feed me so we can feed the masses with the good stuff. And yes, we're going to have some crazy, funny, ratchet shows too. We're always going to sprinkle those in because in the trenches, in the battle, you still have to laugh. You all have a good night. Know that I love you all. Take care until tomorrow. Give it a thumbs up, share the video, and leave your comments. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Okay.